Man, anime titles just keep getting a bigger character count. Look at the name of this show. That's too long, I'm not even gonna read it out. If I could change one thing about the current anime meta, it's for things to have shorter titles. Anyway, I should probably talk about the show itself. It has a couple episodes out at the moment and takes place in a fantasy world, but it's not an isekai, which is honestly a breath of fresh air. Its main character is Rick Gladiator. He's 30-ish years old and a former guild clerk turned adventurer. As the show's title suggests, he trained with the most powerful party and he's now pretty powerful. But it's hard for him to see that. At a glance, he just looks like a guy getting a late start in the adventuring business. When the guild tried measuring his power level, he got the lowest measurement, but the crystal inexplicably broke a few moments after he left the room. The audience knows he's strong, but in these first couple episodes, there is a lot of social pressure telling him he's weak. That disparity between what the audience knows and what others don't know about Rick's power level is the source of much comedy. Oh yeah, by the way, this isn't listed as a comedy, but it's funnier than the one self-described comedy I've watched this season. It's not that Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian isn't funny, but man, the comedic timing in this show is amazing. I think my favorite moment is when Rick is fighting someone everyone expects to be way stronger than him, but when the fight starts, his opponent just moves very slow, at least in Rick's eyes. Instead of concluding that he himself is extremely powerful, Rick is just confused. He almost gets hit a couple times because he's so lost in thought about why his opponent is so slow. That might not sound funny on paper, but the execution was hilarious. I think it's due to Rick being a pretty likable character. Let me break down for you exactly why. You see, one reason is that Rick is 30-something. I like that, because you don't see many older characters as the protagonist in anime. A character in their 30s will generally have a level of maturity and knowledge that teenage protagonists lack. But because Rick is trying to become an adventurer in his 30s, which to our world would be like trying to become a professional athlete at 30, he still faces a lot of the same social adversity that a teenage character would. It's unjust adversity at that, which has you rooting for Rick's success. Rick has a lot of power, but you feel like he's gone through a lot of shit to earn it. The same cannot be said for many fantasy or isekai protagonists. Usually they get a chill training montage or power is just handed to them on a silver platter, but Rick has clearly gone through hellish training. That makes his power feel earned. After all, if a character doesn't have to work or suffer to get something like we have to in real life, it doesn't hit as hard. He's also just a total himbo. He's ripped as hell and a lot of stuff just goes right over his head. There's a scene where a noble with a really long title is introducing himself, and Rick doesn't seem to realize a bunch of the words are like royal jargon and not his actual name, so he ends up just calling him North. This is made even funnier when other people talk about that royal around Rick. He has no idea who they're talking about, so his friend will have to refer to the noble as the smelly cologne man in dramatic moments. Funniest stuff I've seen in a minute. Overall, based on the 2 episodes that are out, I like the show. Solid action, fantasy, funny. I recommend checking it out if that's the kind of thing you're into. Like, subscribe, leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next time.